It's the winter solstice. Happy Capricorn season. So excited to be here with you today for another weekly update and horoscope video. This week is going to be kind of a continuation of the past week a little bit. Our energy levels haven't been super great. And that's happening for a reason. It's happening, this time of year, regardless of what's going on with the stars, is all about having downtime, is having those periods of rest to recover and to recharge and reflect on how we want to move forward in the new year and what maybe needs some reevaluation or adjustments, refinements, to move forward into the new year with alignment and with a new energy beginning our new chapter, right? And this is arguably one of the biggest new beginnings or new chapters we've had in quite some time, probably since like 2012, 2013. This is 2026 is a big year. If you've seen my 2026 update, or you already know about it. I'll be going more into depth in my inner circle membership of the exact astrology of 2026. Because in these videos, I try to keep the astrology jargon out of it and just give you the tea. But in my membership, we go deep into the astrology jargon, and I help you learn how to read the transits and what's going on with them so you can know how to apply them to your chart at any given time. So we talk about the specifics of the planets and what they'll be doing in 2026. And really, of any major transit, I go into further detail in my membership so we can have a discussion about it, and you can share your chart in a private place to ask questions or get feedback or just share what's going on for you based on these transits and really learn how to live your chart in an intimate, supportive setting. So that being said, we just had a new moon in Sagittarius. This week, we're going to have a little bit of some challenging things going on with the moon. The moon is on Monday going to be on Pluto, which is going to be a little bit emotionally volatile. There's going to be the chance for a lot of emotional inner work, maybe change revolving around that as well. There could be some big emotional transformation that we're kind of pressured into, or that conflicts or challenges kind of force us into. And that's going to continue into Tuesday and Wednesday, as the moon will challenge Uranus and Taurus. So the moon will be moving through Aquarius for the first kind of 3 days of the week, and then it will challenge Uranus and Taurus, which we also have Venus in conjunct Uranus and Taurus right now. So this is really not the time to be making like major changes or moving forward on things in your life. Like, this is kind of just a time to chill out and really just give yourself the rest and the space to welcome in an expansion that will be coming like very soon, as soon as the first week of January. Like, allow things to come to you right now and allow yourself to really just sit and kind of wait for the energy to shift. And that's when we'll be acting. That's when we'll be moving forward, right, on all the new things. But that is not the energy right now. It is not the energy to force. It is not the energy to make things happen. It is the energy to rest and recover or recharge, to prepare yourself for when the energy does shift as we get into the new year. So this week could also be a little bit more spacey. We have some things going on with Neptune. Could be a lot of vivid dreams, crazy dreams. I haven't had this crazy of dreams since like the end of 2019. So this is also how I know something really big is coming in 2026. And a lot of that is due to the Neptune things and activations we have going on with Neptune right now. But because of that too, like, our energy levels are up and down. So again, take it easy on yourself. Do not pressure yourself to do things you don't feel like doing right now. Don't pressure yourself to have it all together right now. The energy is very much building behind the scenes, and we just really need to trust in that process and really trust that our rest and our downtime is leading us there, and also like leading the answers to us. So that is really the energy right now. Yeah, do not pressure or force yourself to have it all figured out at this time. This time is really about like doing what is going to help you to feel expanded, whether that's dancing or playing video games or picking up a good book, fantasy series that you're into, or watching movies that like you haven't watched in a while that really bring you a lot of joy, right? Or spending time with loved ones that bring you joy. Like right now is about what can you do that's going to feel like fun and lighthearted and playful, and how can you bring that energy into your day-to-day, as opposed to trying to force things that it's just not the energy to be forcing anything right now. So that's going to continue this week. It will lift. As we get into the weekend after Christmas, it feels like the energy starts to shift then and things start to lift. We are also going to have at the beginning of January a pretty big transit with everything in Capricorn. So now we have Venus is moving into Capricorn this week. We have this Capricorn season. The sun is in Capricorn. And we have Mars in Capricorn. So there's going to be a pretty big conjunction between the sun, Mars, and Venus in Capricorn that will peak around January 7th or January 8th, the first week of January. It'll be going on. So this really right now, this downtime is preparing us for that. Because big things are coming and things are really going to shift in a major way. And we need to have the energy for it when it happens. Okay, is there anything else I want to say about this week? There could also, around the time of Christmas and after, like into the weekend after Christmas, be some emotional challenges between like our communication. So figure battles. If you watched my short little like 3-minute update that I do with my astrology board, I talked about this in there as well. But just really pick your battles as we get into the weekend. Like I said a little bit earlier in this video so far, it's going to be super helpful to have an outlet when things get frustrating or things feel challenging. So what is your outlet? What brings you joy? And how can you make it a priority right now? Yeah, I think that's all I want to say. Is there anything else I want to say about this week? No, let's get into the horoscopes. Okay, hi Aries Rising. We start your week off with some big emotional transformation as it relates to maybe your long-term goals or visions. You might get a lot of clarity about how you want to move forward in the new year. That could relate to community, social media, friend groups, anything like that as well. This is also tied into the mindset shifts you're experiencing and what's going on with your, like, that's changing about your perception of life. There's also a lot of, as we end out the year, forward momentum and focus on your career, focus on what, your reputation, how you want to be seen to the world around you, what you're doing for money, maybe just kind of reevaluating that or making some bigger, or just refining it, not maybe bigger changes right now, but just refining what kind of little things need adjusting so you can make those bigger changes moving forward. Is what the focus of your week overall really feels like. And on Monday, there could be some emotional clarity around that. As we get into Wednesday, it does feel like there's maybe something that challenges you about where you want to go or where you're headed with your goals and your visions. There's a lot of emotional drive towards that and moving in a direction at the beginning of the week, but it also feels like there's some energetic stuff that you have to work through, maybe like subconscious things or like making time to look really within yourself to see what else is maybe standing in the way of having what you want. Or maybe what mindset has created where you are and like how that has kind of contributed to some levels of unhappiness, and maybe what needs to shift there so you can move forward with this new thing in an aligned way and a really stable foundation, from a stable and foundational place as well. But there might be some emotional challenges around that, maybe with money or resources on Wednesday. As we get into Thursday, it's really kind of like a hermit time for you, which I know that's Christmas, but you might really feel like you want to spend, some time alone. As much as you can get it, like Christmas and into the weekend, it feels like there's a lot you need to reflect on in your inner world, and just kind of get more clarity around. There could be some argument or emotional challenging thing around that as we get into Friday. So just make sure you're speaking from a place of like, I need this, I feel this, like setting boundaries in the ways that you need to. to get that time for yourself. That's going to help you just really sort out your inner world in ways that are going to be beneficial for you moving forward. And then it feels like, you give yourself that time, and there is a emotional renewal that happens on Saturday. As we get further into the weekend, it's kind of like this sense of, okay, I know what I'm going to do. Here's how I'm going to do it. And it does feel like a fog starts to lift as we get into the weekend. And there's more rejuvenation emotionally. There's more like, yeah, just feeling more clear about where you're headed and where you're going and how you want to go about all of it. And then as we end out the weekend on Sunday, it feels like there could be something emotionally around that is healing for you. Maybe it's a conversation. Maybe it's a deep dive into your journal of like looking at some mindset or something that you have suddenly realized was holding you back this whole time. It feels like there's this really big, maybe emotional release around a wound, identity related, maybe that came from family or was challenged by family earlier in the week, maybe. And you get clarity around it so that you can really just like learn to have a different relationship with it and move forward from a conscious place with it, as opposed to like running your life underneath the surface. Does that make sense? So that is your week ahead, Aries. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Taurus Rising. We start your week off with the moon in your area of career, of public reputation and image. So there might be some emotional change or transformation that you get clarity about you want to make as it relates to your career on Monday. There's a lot of focus there for you. And now that we have the sun in Capricorn in your area of perspective and how you're viewing things around you, there might be this big shift related to that in your career. It's like they're very deeply tied together right now. So you're doing things to really shift like your mindset. Maybe you're learning something new, and you want to take that forward within your career, and you might get clarity around what that is and how to do it at the beginning of the week. But it's still kind of building. So there might be some things to like pieces of the puzzle you still have to like that still have to come together, but you do have a lot more clarity around things as we start out the week. As we get into Wednesday, there could be something really emotionally challenging within your career or your public image, reputation, that kind of challenges or is conflicting with an identity, a sense of self, maybe a version of you that has been outdated, that you have been working to change over the last 6 or 7 years and really stepping into this new version of yourself. And it feels like there's maybe something emotionally that happens in your career with your, just out and about in the world, that kind of challenges that as well. Maybe brings about this subconscious wound that you didn't realize was still affecting you or still at play. And it's very much related to like what ways you're expanding with money and within your career and work and what's going on with that as well. As we get into Thursday on Christmas, we have the moon moving into your area of long-term goals and vision. So you might get some clarity about how you want to step into this new thing that you're building or that you're changing, that's evolving for you, that's emerging. It feels like you do get a lot more creative inspiration or clarity as we end out the week. But there could be something on Friday that maybe just comes about that feels like a challenge. Maybe it's something within your mindset around resources or money, or maybe it's a person in your life, maybe a friend or someone in your community that really kind of challenges you emotionally to look at something about whatever you're doing that doesn't feel super comfy. But it is going to be helpful for you to move forward in true alignment and have what you want as it relates to your long-term goals and visions that have been changing or that you've been building and evolving over the years. As we get into Saturday, there could be something, again, kind of emotionally challenging, maybe with what's going on in your subconscious. And again, these identity shifts that you've been experiencing, it feels like there's some sort of challenge between that and how you're viewing life or how you're viewing the world. And there's a big need to really shift like how you're viewing things around you. And maybe on Saturday, this gets brought up in a major way, and kind of an uncomfortable way, again, like an emotionally charged way of like, okay, I really need to take action on what has been coming up for me in my subconscious that like I keep bumping my head up against this wall. Like, what do I need to do about it to heal it, to really shift it for good? And then it feels like as we get into Sunday and end out the week, there is big emotional clarity around that, and maybe having a helpful conversation that helps you to kind of really clear it or step into something different around it. It really feels like there's this emotional boost or support around healing whatever this wound is that's been kind of reoccurring for you. Maybe that was from childhood or from your mother's line of the mother's side of the family or anything like that. It feels like there's a big moment of like epiphany or healing that comes on Sunday as we end out the week. So that's your week ahead, Taurus. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Gemini Rising. We start your week off with the moon on Pluto in your area of perspective and how you're viewing the world around you. So, there could be some big emotional transformation with your perspective of life or philosophy of life, or mindset related, that happens that maybe kind of shifts how you're seeing things. We also have Capricorn season now in your area of resources. So, there could be some illumination of your resources, whether that's investment, debt, taxes, things you're paying for, or you're receiving money from other people, or in some way there could be some clarity around that and illumination of like, okay, I need to act on this. I need to like fill out the paperwork to get this loan, or I need to like invest in this thing that's going to have a like good reward. Or there's a big focus as well, starting now and into January, on like your resources and what you're doing with money. There could be some big thing that you're changing around that, and maybe related to a relationship or somebody in your life. But also things feel really foggy with that and what's going on with your career. It kind of feels like maybe your relationships are challenging something in your career, or vice versa. And it's kind of like, again, really not the time to be taking major action in either area of life. It's kind of just like sit and wait and see how things are going to present themselves to evolve. But there is a huge focus and emphasis on those two areas of your life right now, especially on Tuesday and into Wednesday. It feels like there could be some big shift that happens related to all of that on Wednesday, as the moon challenges your area of subconscious. So there could be something as well that you're being made aware of as it relates to like what's going on underneath the surface of all of these changes and all of these things that you're doing or wanting to do and step in a new direction around. It feels like there might be some challenge that really kind of forces you to evolve. As we get into Thursday, the moon moves into your area of career, and you might be getting more creative inspiration around what's going on in your career, what new direction you've been headed there, maybe more creatively or more spiritually than you had been before. Whatever new direction or whatever you're building or wanting to build there and have been for the last few years, it feels like you get more emotional clarity around it and how to act on it. Even though you might not have like all the answers yet, it feels like things are slowly starting to emerge and come together for you. There might be something positive that happens for you around that with money on Friday, but it could also kind of challenge, or there could be some conflict between needing to have a conversation with somebody in your life and what's going on with that. So kind of pick your battles on Friday. As we get into Saturday, it feels like there's this emotional focus that shifts from your career and your reputation onto like, okay, I'm feeling a little bit more rejuvenated about things, feeling more hopeful about things. Maybe like, okay, what do I want to really take action on or really ground in about my long-term goals and plans for the future? Could be related to community or social media, but it could also come at a challenge or conflict to what's going on in your resources, your money, maybe again, debt and taxes, investments, things like that, could be challenged as well. This could also maybe bring about a heightened sense of intuition for you. Take it as it resonates, but that's kind of what I'm getting as well. So there could be this heightened sense of intuition as we end out the week, on what to do and how to move forward, and maybe just like restructure things in ways that are going to be more beneficial for you. And then as we get into Sunday, it feels like there's some clarity that emerges from all of that. Maybe it's you get, you know, emotionally clear about a wound or trigger related to like an old version of yourself that was still showing up, and how to handle it, how to move forward differently. There could be a conversation you have with somebody in your life that's helpful in terms of healing that wound, healing that trigger, as well. So that is your week, Gemini. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Cancer Rising. We start your week out on Monday with the moon moving over Pluto in your area of resources. This could be big emotional clarity around transformation, around resources. It could be physical resources, but it could also be like spirituality, intuition. You could get this kind of maybe a heightened sense of intuition at this time, maybe related to a transformation you're wanting to make. It could like help you with money in some way, like okay, you get this spontaneous urge or intuition to like invest in something, or uh, I don't know, something like that. There could be something that comes up around that on Monday, but either way, it's like this deep transformation within yourself that is occurring and kind of comes to a head on Monday. Also, we have Capricorn season now in your 7th house of relationships. So there's this big focus and illumination of your relationships, of other people in your life, on who you want to spend time around. There could be something around that on Tuesday that's kind of like not super clear to you. Maybe it's related to like work, and it's almost like you want to do something but you don't know how to move forward with it, and it's kind of bringing up a lot of mindset stuff for you, and it is asking you to shift your perspective and really have faith. And again, are the people that you have around you really people you want to have? Do they match up with your values? Do they support you in ways that you need? Are they supporting you and encouraging you to move forward with this new thing? Are they helping you with that in whatever way that you need to step into it and move forward with it? It's really a kind of some good questions for you to be asking yourself. It's really going to be a focus for you at the beginning of the week. As we get into Wednesday, there could be something emotionally challenging between the inner transformation that's happening for you, and what's going on, maybe again with changing your friendships, your community. Maybe something about your long-term goals or visions has suddenly kind of changed, and it's putting some adding some challenge or conflict to what's going on with your resources, or again, like really calling for you to look at deeply these systematic beliefs about yourself and others and what's possible for you. It could also be bringing up like societal conditioning of like, oh, well, I was told I had to, do this for money, and now it's like that's all I've ever known, but I feel called to do this, and like it's bringing up this programming in you, and asking you to really kind of shift it and look at what in there you want to keep and what you don't. As we get into Thursday, the moon moves into Pisces and amplifies this. It's like there's a need for you to emotionally step in a new direction as it relates to your perspective. And maybe that's needing to really kind of surround yourself with information that helps you to do that. Going to be an interesting Christmas because of this. There could be something you're realizing, maybe spending time around family is helping you to realize like what you want to change about your mindset and things moving forward. As we get into Friday, that amplifies. There could be something challenging that's going on between how you view the world and your perspective and your mindset, and what's going on with work that you're wanting to change or step in a new direction around that you've gotten clarity with. But it feels like there's some conversation you might have as we get into the weekend that helps you with that. And as we get into Saturday specifically, there's this emotional renewal in terms of your career and this new chapter and beginning that you're headed into with career and how you want to be known to the world, like your reputation and your image. There's more clarity around that. Maybe you have a conversation with somebody that helps you to see that or get more clarity around that in general. And it feels like there's some big healing that occurs with that as we get into Sunday and end out the week. But it could challenge what's going on with you and how you're wanting to expand in your sense of self and your identity as well. So that is your week ahead, Cancer. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Leo Rising. Your week starts out with a pretty interesting emotional shift or change within a relationship, whether that's a significant other or it could be anybody in your life that maybe there's been a transformation with or around. There could also be just you changing how you view relationships and what you want within them or what you want from the people that you surround yourself with, what you really need to feel belonging and to feel supported. So there could be a lot of emotional clarity you get around that on Monday. We also have Capricorn season now that has begun in your area of work. So there's also a lot of focus on an illumination on getting to work with something, whether it's like something new that you're taking action on or wanting to start, or you're making changes around with your career. It feels like there's a lot of focus on like, okay, what am I doing on a daily basis to really build this and really step into this new direction with this new thing. As we get into Wednesday, though, there could be something about a relationship or somebody in your life. It doesn't have to be romantic. It can be any kind of relationship that feels challenging to the changes you're making in your career. So it's kind of like these two areas of your life, your relationships and your career, are really kind of challenging and conflicting each other on Wednesday. But it kind of propels you into some sort of evolution with what you're doing as well. Maybe even surprisingly gives you clarity on how you want to move forward with what's going on in your career. Um, there's a lot of focus on your day-to-day routines and work right now. So you might be focused on that, or it could show up as like focused on health, maybe wanting to like really this week be conscious of what you're eating, conscious of what you're doing, how you're moving your body on a daily basis. There could be some sort of new routine you want to start there. And it's almost like start it now. Don't start it at the new year. Like start it now is a big energy and message around that, because it's only going to benefit you moving forward to start it now. Like tomorrow's the busiest day of the week. Don't put off what you're feeling called to start at this moment, even if it is a major holiday. As we get into Thursday and on Christmas, the moon moves into your area of your subconscious, um, your inner world, your psyche, your intuition as well. So there could be something that you're focused on with that's been building for you the last few years. This could also show up as like debt, taxes, inheritances, or like investments, and wanting to really maybe diversify any of those or clean up those, and get more aligned with them, get more clear on what's going on there and what you want to do with it moving forward. Maybe related to the changes that are happening in your career or with work as well. That continues into Friday, although there could be something on Friday that happens that's a little bit emotionally challenging, maybe between somebody in your life that you're dating, romantic with. It could be also something creative, like you're maybe wanting to do this thing, but it feels kind of like there's a creative block. Again, like I said at the beginning of the video, the general overview, it's like this week really flow with your energy. Don't force yourself to do something if you're feeling stuck or blocked. Like sit with what that is. And the more you sit with it and just kind of hold space for it, it will shift. But it's like what you resist persists. So don't resist, or like make it mean anything about you. Like if you're feeling blocked or stuck, like it's just a temporary thing. So that could be something that comes up for you on Friday. But as we get into the weekend, Saturday, it feels like there's emotional renewal. Maybe you're viewing life differently. You're stepping into a new perspective. It could also feel like that challenges what's going on with your day-to-day routine or with work, or with health. And there could maybe be this emotionally challenging thing that happens. That's like, okay, I really need to be serious about my health, or I really need to be serious about my work, because I can't keep living the way that I have. Like there's a challenge that forces you to evolve. And as we end out the weekend on Sunday, it feels like there's something around that heals. There's some emotional clarity with healing, maybe around a trigger that came up related to all of that maybe you have a conversation with somebody too that helps with it and kind of helps you to see things differently, and feels like it really clicks into place of like how you want to move forward in healing that thing that's been reoccurring for you. So yeah, that's your week ahead, Leo. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Oh my god, I didn't have my laptop plugged in this whole time. Shit. Hi, Virgo Rising. We start your week off with the moon moving over Pluto in your area of work. Also, day-to-day routine and health. So there could be something around that you're getting emotional clarity about. A transformation you want to make. Maybe work has really changed form for you, and there's some big kind of resolution of that, or just clarity you get about how you need to structure your time better, your schedule better, or whatever, to like manage all the changes that have been happening there for you. It feels like there also might be a change in your home, or related to like what's going on with you. It feels like these are all kind of culminating in your home or with family. Like maybe you've been spending more time reassessing or reevaluating all of that. That's kind of changing your sense of self and supporting all the other changes that are going on for you. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, because I feel like that was really specific. But as we get further into the week, on Wednesday, we have Venus moving into your area of fun, of romance, of playful energy, of creativity. So there could be a lot more creative inspiration coming through for you as we get into really leading up to Christmas. And then after, it feels like there's a big focus on what you're creating, what you're doing, what is inspiring you to create, and more, maybe it's this more playful energy that you've been trying to bring in to your day to day. But also on Wednesday, it feels like there's some challenge between your work, or what you have to do on a daily basis, and then like maybe ways you want to expand, or ways that it's almost like this big mindset shift is kind of forced on you, related to what's going on in your day to day, or what's going on with work. And maybe your schedule or health in some way. It's kind of forcing you to grow and expand in ways you maybe didn't anticipate or see occurring for you as it relates to like your mindset. Then later on Wednesday and into Thursday, the moon moves into your area of relationships. You could be spending a lot more time around people on Christmas, and after into the weekend, there's this big focus on spending time with people who, inspire you to create, or really feel like spiritual connections for you. Maybe help you also to be more tuned into your intuition, or disciplined with what you're building and what you're doing moving forward. So there's a huge focus on that emotionally as we end out the week before we get into the weekend. But on Friday, it does feel like there could be something emotionally challenging between a relationship or somebody in your life. Whether it's romantic or not, it feels like there's something that could come up about like emotionally challenge you within your relationship, that brings up something within your home or family. Like it's almost like if you're spending time around family, there could maybe be some argument that doesn't feel super good, or something like that. But again, it does give you more clarity on what in you is healing from all that's coming up for you, and what is further kind of shifting in your mindset. It might also be this moment of like, wow, I've changed so much and over this past year, and I'm now really being faced with how much and how drastically I have shifted and changed in my life, because of I don't handle these old triggers or things, conflicts in the same way that I used to. As we get into Saturday, it feels like there's this emotional renewal, especially within your intuition and within really your subconscious, your psyche. It could also show up in your finances, your resources, debt, taxes, investments, anything like that. It feels like maybe getting more clarity around the ways that the money wounds have been coming up for you all year. I feel like we've really been talking about that a lot. The second half of the year for you, Virgo, is like this stuff around money, this stuff around resources, feeling supported. So it feels like this all kind of comes to a resolution as we end out the week. And you get more clarity around, again, like really seeing yourself as this new version of you. And it could all just kind of click into place, and you could feel really clear about it. Maybe this fog lifts around it or something, or you really just feel embodied in a new identity as we end out the week, especially on Sunday. So that's your week ahead, Virgo. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Libra Rising. We start your week off with the moon moving over Pluto in your area of creativity. Also, romance and dating. So, there could be something on Monday that you get, there's kind of this emotional clarity or emotional transformation around as it relates to dating, romance, maybe creative inspiration as well. Like maybe the two are playing into each other. And there's just a lot more inspiration, it feels like, to do something or to move into a new direction, or it feels like you might get an epiphany even if you don't have the energy yet to act on it right away. It feels like there's some clarity that comes around whatever this is. Then as we get into Tuesday, it's really kind of like just embracing the ways that life is coming to you right now, like not trying to force, not trying to plan overly, or make yourself do something you don't feel like doing. It's really like embracing the energy and things as they show up, and maybe surrendering the how a little bit more, and surrendering the like, okay, well, it can only come this way, or it can only happen that way, or I thought it was going to be this way. It's like, no, like really allow how it's showing up for you. This could be related to some healing within your relationships. It could also be like you realizing how much you have grown into a new version of yourself, and with communication, with boundary setting, and stuff like that as well. As we get into Wednesday, there could be something that challenging that happens within maybe your dating, your romance, or creativity that emotionally feels like a pull, and it directly conflicts and challenges with the changes you're making to your money, to your resources, to investments, kind of what you're doing with your money. There might feel like there's an emotional challenge between a creative passion or project, could be a romantic thing as well. It kind of feels like there's maybe some challenges with that and what's going on with money. But again, it's kind of like, I don't know if you've been feeling, Libra, like you can't get things out, or you can't, like, you're not as articulate as you're used to being. And that's kind of the energy right now, is like, don't force yourself to say it perfectly or have it all figured out perfectly. It's really like, see, I don't even know how to say it. It's like it's all coming together, and we're really just being asked to flow a lot more than we usually do. And maybe if something isn't like coming out right, or we want to say it differently, like give yourself space to be able to do that, as opposed to trying to force it to come out at a certain way at a certain time. As we get into Thursday on Christmas, there's an increased focus on your home and your family life at this time, maybe on making changes to your home, or building family in some way, or just really like a big focus on that. But also, as we get into the end of the week, there's an emotional focus on your health, your day-to-day routine, your work, maybe moving in some direction there. Again, more creative inspiration maybe coming around things that you're wanting to do or wanting to build within your work and within your career. It feels like as we end out the week, there's a lot more clarity around all of that, and how to go about it and how to move forward on it. But it also kind of, maybe there's something with that challenges your communication or challenges the mindset. There could be challenging conversation that you need to have Friday into Saturday. So pick your battles. Don't like really take a deep breath before you maybe say something you'd regret, kind of thing. Because there's so much emphasis on home and family and what's going on there. This could maybe bring up some unresolved conflicts with that. But I also feel like it's gonna creatively inspire you in some way. Like, I don't know. It's kind of sounds like a conflicting energy, but that's what I'm getting around it. As we get into Saturday, the moon moves into your area of relationships. So there's a big emotional focus on other people in your life, on who you have around you, on a relationship. It maybe starting some new beginning with a relationship that's more committed, or something like that. It feels like there's this kind of emotional renewal. Like maybe you really had some hard conversations you needed to have, and they actually came out better than you anticipated, or something like that. And it could bring up a lot of stuff around family healing as well, of like, oh, I've really healed from childhood dynamics, or my family dynamics, or my parents' stuff. Like I've really stepped away from it and healed it, because I'm approaching this so much differently than I would have before. There's a lot of, as we end out the week, realization on how much you've grown and how much you've healed, and really kind of giving yourself props for that, and feeling renewed and feeling a lot more embodied in this new version of you, and like realizing how much you've grown and shifted and changed. And that could really inspire you as well. So it kind of feels like this whole week inspiration is building towards whatever this career venture is that you've been stepping into and building. So yeah, that's your week ahead, Libra. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Scorpio Rising. We start your week off with the moon moving over Pluto in your area of home and family. So there could be some big emotional change within your home or family, maybe a living situation that you get clarity around, and wanting to move in a new direction towards. But as we get into Wednesday, there could be something about that is challenging a relationship in some way. Maybe this is like an ex, or doesn't have to be romantic. It could just be somebody in your life that maybe things have been shifting with, or you've been wanting to make changes with this person or with relationships in general, and they kind of like maybe challenge the old version of you or old dynamics, maybe related to home or family from the past. So there's something about that kind of forces you into an evolution with those things related to conflict or related to challenges there. We have the sun in Capricorn now. So it's Capricorn season in your area of communication. There's a really big need for you to speak your mind and really be more forthcoming with your thoughts and with how you communicate yourself, maybe needing to be a lot more firm with your boundaries and things like that. And as we get into Thursday, there's an emotional focus on your creative projects, your passions, maybe romance, maybe dating, depending on how it's showing up for you. But really, the emotional focus is on moving in some new direction with creativity, with your passion projects, things of that nature. There might be some inspiration that comes on what to do and what to create related to what you have been building and wanting to step into for the past 2 to 3 years. And that's going to really build as we end out the week. Although on Friday, there could be something emotionally challenging between that and maybe money, or money mindset. Maybe belief systems with money become challenged related to whatever's going on. But again, it feels like really communicating and speaking to yourself, even from this place of like newfound worth, newfound value in yourself and what you have to share, and the work that you do, and choosing to step into that as opposed to like the old version of you. As we get into Friday, there's an emotional renewal with your work and with your day-to-day routine, and what you do to make money. There could be some things that you've stepped into or that you've taken a little bit of action towards, that you get more clarity around or feel renewed around taking that action as we end out the week. And there could be something with all of that really comes to a new cycle of healing, or you kind of healed any wounds that were there, and there's this new cycle of inversion of yourself that emerges in the process as we end out the week, especially on Sunday. Although things with that might feel challenging on Saturday, it's like you work through whatever it is and it forces you to evolve and transform in some way so you can step into the new. So that is your week ahead, Scorpio. Let me know how it resonates, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Sagittarius Rising. We start your week off with the moon moving over Pluto in your area of communication. There could be something that you're emotionally changing about your mindset or your style of communicating. Maybe where you're going, who you're talking to on a daily basis as well, is going through a transformation, and that kind of really solidifies as we start out the week. We also have Capricorn season now in your area of money. So there's a lot of focus on what foundations and structures, systems you're building around money, with money, maybe approaching it differently, setting up new structures or systems, like I said, to have a new foundation or relationship with money as we move forward into the new year. As we get into Wednesday, there could be something with that challenges like with your communication or with your mindset, maybe where you go on a daily basis. There could be something about that challenges something within your work, maybe a change you're wanting to make within your work or reevaluating. Could be related to health as well, like maybe somewhere you have been going, you're realizing like, oh, this actually wasn't good for my health or wasn't good for my work or whatever it is moving forward. So you're realizing you want to shift something about maybe your routine or your schedule to actually align with your goals and what you're wanting to do moving forward that you've gotten more clarity around. On Christmas, the moon moves into your area of home and family. So you could be hermiting maybe this Christmas or spending a lot more time alone than you normally would around the holidays. It feels like a really big time. The end of this week to really go within, to spend more time in your home, maybe meditating or connecting to spirituality in whatever ways you do, or creative things as we end out this week. And there's a big focus on that. There's a big focus, especially on Friday, on your home and what's going on there. It could, though, challenge something about you, challenge something about how you're expressing yourself, maybe appearance or identity, or your sense of self becomes challenged. Maybe, again, it's all kind of mindset related. It's all kind of like really being disciplined with stepping into this new version of yourself in this new chapter and having full alignment with it. As we get into Saturday, there is this feeling of emotional renewal with your creative passions, maybe with dating, however it applies. But it feels like there's a lot more momentum towards whatever you're wanting to do with money or with a creative passion or project. It feels like there's really a lot of emotional drive towards having this new chapter, this new beginning, maybe getting a lot more clarity around what you want to do with work or for money moving forward. And it feels like as we end out the week on Sunday, there's a lot of emotional healing around that. That's maybe supported through a conversation you have with a friend, or maybe with yourself, or with like within a spiritual practice or something like that. It feels like you really clear fully all of these things maybe that were still kind of lingering out in your subconscious or lingering out in your energy field. It feels like there's this big clearing that happens around that, and this momentum towards fully stepping into a new version of yourself that could really inspire you to create, or could really inspire you within romance or dating, however that shows up. So yeah, that's your week ahead, Sagittarius. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Capricorn Rising. It's Capricorn season now. So the sun is in your first house. This is a really big time of just, emotion, like identity renewal, illumination of you, illumination of your sense of self, of your identity, what changes you've been making there. There might be a big need to really like put yourself first, put your needs first. There could be something on Monday that comes about in light of that you get clarity around early in the morning. But then later on Monday, there's this focus on your money. There's this focus on maybe changing something emotionally within your money. Maybe really you've been learning how to step into a new energy or new sense of embodiment with your resources, with possessions, with money, what you're doing with that. So there could be emotional clarity around that, what's changing about all of that at the start of the week. As we get into Wednesday, however, there could be something with your money that maybe challenges a creative passion or project or venture that you've been changing, refining. This could show up in your dating or your romantic life as well. Maybe there's a challenge with something about that and what you want to change with it and what's going on with your money. But that kind of will be a temporary thing, and it will also kind of force you to evolve and change and grow in those areas and ways that you've been wanting to and needing to. As we get into Thursday on Christmas, the moon moves into your area of communication. So there's maybe this big focus at the middle end of the week on how you're communicating yourself, what new direction you're stepping into with mindsets. There could be, again, more of this sense of renewal and illumination of you, what's changing about you, or what you're wanting to change about your sense of self, your identity, or your appearance related to how you're communicating yourself and learning to kind of step into a new version of you and maybe set boundaries in different ways than how you would have in the past. And it's all kind of all playing into each other. There's also a lot of family healing that's happening for you, and that could be playing into this also. But on Friday, it does feel like something maybe gets triggered around that with within something you do on a daily basis or some conversation you might have. There could be something emotionally challenging between that and a belief that you maybe didn't realize was still impacting you. That's being brought up from your subconscious through this challenge or this conflict on Friday. But as we get into Saturday, it feels like there's a big emotional renewal as it relates to your home and family, maybe stepping in a new direction with home or with family. But it could come in a challenge to, again, those changes you're making to yourself or what's kind of shifting about your identity or your appearance, what you're maybe stepping into there, really refining you. And it's related to the changes or things that are coming up emotionally within your foundations, your roots, maybe your physical home or with family in a generational sense. But it does feel like as we end out the week on Sunday, there's a lot of emotional clarity around that, and maybe what further needs some love in order to heal and not show up in the ways that it has been and hinder what you've been doing. So that's your week ahead, Capricorn. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Aquarius Rising. We start your week off with the moon in the area of you. So there feels like on Monday, there's this big emotional renewal of you, your identity, your appearance, your sense of self, maybe related to the transformation that has been happening with you over the last 2 to 3 years, and really stepping into this new direction. There could be this emotional illumination of the transformation you've been making to you, to your sense of self. But also there's this big focus on your subconscious as well, because we have so much in Capricorn that's going on in your area of subconscious, your area of the inner world. There could be a lot that's coming to the surface that you didn't realize was still there, maybe related to family or childhood wounds or old kind of communication styles that are being triggered so that you look at them, so that you shift them. Especially on Wednesday, there could be some challenge between you and what's going on in your home or with family. That could be really emotionally heightened, but it does kind of pressure you to evolve in ways that are going to be more beneficial for you to approach family or approach home or what's going on there, and really kind of solidifying in a new identity of like, how do I want to react to this? How do I want to respond to this? How do I want to approach this? What is more in alignment with the new version of me than the old version of me that's kind of being triggered right now? On Christmas, the moon moves into your area of money, so there could be some emotional focus with that as we end out the week, maybe related to what new direction you've been stepping into with money, related to maybe spirituality or creativity that is different than where you were headed with how you make money and how you do things for work. It feels like there's a lot of momentum as we end out this week on stepping in that direction more fully, or adjusting it as needed in order to really support where you're headed and where you're going with it. But Friday, it could feel like there's maybe some challenge between your ability to emotionally focus on money or do something there and what's going on in your long-term goals, visions, or with community. If you're on social media and that's a part of how you make money, there could be something that really triggers you and maybe brings up further those wounds that are in your mindset, that are in your subconscious, to really look at and evolve and change. As we get into Saturday, it feels like there's an emotional renewal related to all of that, related to these mindset shifts or communication styles you're realizing don't serve you, and stepping into a new patterns, new direction with all of that, so that you are more aligned with what does serve you versus what doesn't. That could, there could be more things that come up Saturday that really kind of trigger things within your inner world, your subconscious, your programming. But it feels like, again, whatever is triggered, whatever challenges or conflicts are coming up this whole week, it's propelling you to grow. It's propelling you to evolve. As uncomfortable as it is serving you so that you don't take it with you into all of this new that you're creating. And then on Sunday, it does feel like that energy clears. There's less challenges. There's less frustrating energy around it. And there's some maybe emotional or mental clarity of the healing of it and stepping into a new direction with it. There could be a conversation you have that's helpful with a friend or on social media, or you see a piece of content or something that really inspires you to like, oh, I actually have healed that or have moved in this new direction with that. And it's because of all the challenges that you have healed it, that you have evolved past it. And you realize that by the end of the week. So that's your week ahead, Aquarius. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Pisces Rising. We start your week off with the moon in your area of subconscious. There could be some big emotional transformation, and maybe this comes through a dream or it could just be through you spending time alone with yourself in your inner world, like no phone, no distractions or anything. There's this big emotional shift that occurs on Monday. Maybe you wake up feeling differently or something like that, but it also feels like it could just be something that happens that you're like, oh, I need to move in this direction, or I need to shift this because I've just been made aware of it and I didn't know it was still there, kind of thing. We have Capricorn season now in your area of long-term goals and visions. So there's a lot of illumination of stepping into a new direction related to what's actually going to serve you, be beneficial for you moving forward with all the changes you've been stepping into and that have been occurring for you really for the last 2 to 3 years. It's kind of like a solidification of all of it. And maybe feeling more aligned with the dream that you've been building or the goals that you've had and been aligning with these last few years. Now you're feeling more aligned with them than ever. Does that make sense? But there could be something on Wednesday that maybe comes up around your mindset or communication styles that is kind of challenged by what's going on in your subconscious. Maybe there's a dream that you have that makes you like wake up feeling really weird and maybe feeling a little bit like kind of insecure, imposter syndrome. But again, it's just bringing up things that are within you so that you look at them, so that you can see them, to shift them, and to really just affirm to yourself, like, no, I don't want that energy anymore. I'm stepping into this. I'm stepping into confidence. I'm stepping into feeling secure with what I'm doing and how I'm sharing myself and who I am. So there's a big energy of that on Wednesday. But as we get into Thursday, I mean, because of that, there's an emotional renewal that happens. You might be really focused on you more than usual as we end out the week, and really focused, maybe feeling more creatively inspired, focused on what you're doing, what you're building. Maybe, the holiday gives you a lot of inspiration towards that, or a lot of clarity around that. And it feels like this more emotional alignment and embodiment of the you that you've been stepping into that's different than who you were before. There could be something though on Friday that kind of is triggering about that, maybe in your career or your public reputation or image or something, like, or somebody in out and about in the world, somebody maybe triggers something within that, within you about that. But it again just shows you how much you've changed and grown. And as we get into Saturday, there's a big emotional focus and shift onto your money. Things maybe feel foggy leading up to this on Saturday, like Friday into Saturday, things might feel a little foggy, but then it kind of clears as we end out the week. And you suddenly know what to do and what to take action on and how to do it to bring in more money, or to really align yourself with these goals that you've had, that you're stepping more into than ever. Especially on Sunday, it feels like a big emotional epiphany maybe, or clarity around what is going on with your money and what's healing there for you, and how it's related to your career and what has been going on there, and especially been a focus these last few weeks. There could be a helpful conversation you have with somebody in your life that supports that as well, and supports this kind of like, oh, okay, I actually have healed this, or I actually have stepped into this new direction, and you're shown more proof and evidence of it than maybe ever before. So that's your week ahead, Pisces. Let me know how it resonates with you, and I'll see you next week. Bye.